taxes. It's not informed of the details of the investigation. Blockchain to prevent child labor, being used to mine minerals essential for making smartphones and electric cars. The Independent reports the companies are using the technology to track cobalt mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, along the supply chain to batteries making batteries for Ford's electric vehicles. Lithium-ion batteries are found in a host of consumer electronics, including iPhones and tablets. Surging demand has meant a boom in cobalt mining in the DRC, which produces around 60% of the global supply. But mines in the impoverished Central African nation have been found to exploit children as young as 7 who are exposed to potentially lethal toxins. Cobalt mining also pollutes local land and has been linked to corruption. The company said they were using IBM's blockchain platform to monitor cobalt through entries on a tamper-resistant database from the point that the mineral is extracted. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@SNLS News for details on how to raise your business's profile in partnership with the Liberty Beat. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat on this Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A report confirms that many Iraqis are still holding a petty grudge about the U.S. invasion. An advanced alien civilization discovers an uninhabitable planet, and a single woman has a Facebook profile picture with her sister. This is the Onion Week in Review. A groundbreaking study published Monday in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that it is impossible to lose weight. No one has ever done it, and those who are trying should give up immediately. Researchers said that findings conclusively prove that shedding excess weight has never happened, changing your physical appearance is impossible, and that all sorts of exercise, personal training regimens, and diets will never, ever work.
Well, our test results conclusively prove that if you're going to the gym to lose weight, you will fail. You could work out every day and eat nothing and you still wouldn't lose an ounce. Skinny people will stay skinny, overweight people will be overweight. That's just how it is.
In other news, an area man is outraged his private information is being collected by someone other than advertisers. And a crowd cheers as this 93-year-old fuck-up finally graduates from college.
This is the Onion News Network.
Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free and take control of the airwaves. If you want, you can bring up anything that is on your mind. With you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
And of course, you can bring up anything. That's the point of the program. Toll free number 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So, you take control of the airwaves. Last night, we had a gentleman call in at the very beginning of the show. He lives in Venezuela, was calling us from Miami. He was at the Miami Bitcoin conference that Mark had attended recently, and he met Mark there, and Mark said, you know what, you really ought to call in, because we do talk about Venezuela here on Free Talk Live. Did you even know that we had that caller last night, Vincent?
No.
Okay, because you brought in Venezuela as your topic here tonight, and it was that caller who clued us in, plus it was also in a news headline I had, but we hadn't shared yet, that there was going to be some major protests taking place today in Venezuela. And people are obviously pretty fed up with the failure of socialism under Nicolas Maduro. I don't know if they're fed up with socialism, but they're fed up with Nicolas Maduro, the current president or dictator or whatever you want to call him.
Well, but for not getting free stuff, Ian, so it can't be socialism, or at least for real variety anyways.
Well, I mean, there are government like freebies in Venezuela. It's just that they're starving. So like there's government housing, and they just don't have enough food. So, like, there's free things coming from the government still. If you're living in subsidized housing, for instance, there's certain, like, governmental subsidized neighborhoods, that kind of thing. But as is typically the case in socialism, you end up running the producers out of the marketplace. In this case, Venezuela literally nationalizing hundreds of industries and or companies in different industries and just running them into the ground. So that plus the monetary manipulation that has been an absolute nightmare of hyperinflation for the people there, you've got a real mix of just bad on top of bad on top of bad.
And you have people advocating for it to all happen here in the States.
Oh, no. Ocasio Cortez says she doesn't want Venezuelan socialism. She wants the
Norwegian, Scandinavian socialism.
Right. Which, of course, some have looked at and said, yeah, that's not any more socialist than, say, the United States has socialism, which is to say all of these countries have some socialist policies.
Something like 6 out of the 10 planks of communism are being fulfilled by the U.S. government right now.
I think the last time we counted, it was like 7.5 or 8 of them.
7.5.
Yeah. Caracas, reporting from Reuters, Brian Ellsworth, Mael Armas, say this about what happened today. Buoyed by a telegenic new congressional chief, Venezuela's opposition is daring to hope that President Nicolas Maduro's days in office could be numbered, but the unpopular leader's bedrock base, the armed forces, show few signs of erosion. Now, what we were talking about yesterday was an uprising by about 27 National Guardsmen recently. They had taken some weapons. They were going to, making like YouTube videos or some kind of Twitter videos or whatever, kind of trying to encourage people like, okay, now's the time. Let's do something. We in the military are on your side. And they got basically taken out by the rest of the military, the rest of Maduro's men. And for those of you who are looking at this situation, we'll get deeper into it here, but you're wondering, because I know we have at least one listener who's a regular listener who always rolls his eyes whenever we talk about Venezuela, as though, there are obviously issues that strike closer to home that for most people are more relevant. It's, I think, fascinating in kind of a train wreck sort of way to look at what's gone on in Venezuela and to hopefully take some important lessons away from it as to why it is that socialism is a failure.
Oh, absolutely. It could easily happen here and be as much of a disaster. I think the average American household only has 3 days worth of food supplies. So if, say, the power goes out or there's, government, not sponsor, government caused shortages because of socialism or whatnot, or even via food stamp money runs out, there's going to be all sorts. There's going to be all sorts of violence and chaos and cannibalism, and so the things that make Venezuelan look like the circus.
Opposition sympathizers rallying around opposition leader Juan Guaido are holding open-air town hall meetings that buzz with excitement about the legislature's recent challenges to Maduro's legitimacy, who this month began a new term widely slammed as illegitimate. And apparently Trump has also gone against the new term of Maduro, as I understand it. Didn't you have a story about that?
Yes, absolutely. He recognizes the opposition as the official government.
Right. So there's other countries in South America as well that are refusing to recognize Maduro at this point, bolstered by the U.S. and those Latin American neighbors promising to back the opposition in seeking a transition. The Guaido-led Congress last week declared Maduro a usurper and asked foreign governments to freeze bank accounts that are controlled by the Venezuelan government. But with the legislature stripped of its powers by a pro-government Supreme Court and few signs the military high command is prepared to abandon Maduro, the spring in the opposition's step and investor exuberance that it has sparked may prove premature. One active high-duty or high-ranking military officer who asked not to be identified said, quote, "The military leadership is faithful to Maduro and will continue to be until he's gone." Now, of course, that's just talk is cheap, right? At some point, there may be a flip. There may be enough mutiny within the ranks to make it so the military isn't so faithful anymore. And that's what they were hoping for today, as they were expecting large numbers of protesters across Venezuela. An attack on Caracas military output by I think they mean outpost. It says here output. By 24 low-ranking National Guard officers on Monday sparked opposition hopes of an uprising, but the incident was snuffed out quickly. Rocio San Miguel, a military expert with nonprofit group Citizen Control, said this, quote, "A sergeant at a National Guard outpost is not to me important. What would be important is a situation like that in a major unit or battalion." Congress has declared Maduro illegitimate and promised a transition to a new government, bringing new energy to an opposition that has kept a low profile since protests in 2017 that left 125 people dead, but failed to shake Maduro. I don't know how long you've been paying attention to what's going on over there, Vincent, but I remember the protests in 2017. They were going on for weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Weeks.
There was I think like a helicopter attack on a building.
That's right. That was the action star, like their Arnold Schwarzenegger, basically, who literally was former military, grabbed some grenades and stole a helicopter and threw them at the Supreme Court building, and all the while like making YouTube videos and trying to kind of rile things up. They ended up killing him.
What I'm interested in is the 125 number that were killed. I mean, just imagine if there was a protest here in the U.S. where 125 protesters were killed. Like, it'd be nationwide violence.
Oh, yeah.
But compared to there, I wonder if it's because we're so scared of a government, or if information doesn't travel as freely, or if we're just used to having that kind of carnage.
The excitement has spread from the streets of Caracas to the trading rooms of Wall Street, where investors have driven up the prices of the country's defaulted bonds on hopes that a new government will be more likely to resume debt payments. Guaido got another U.S. vote of confidence on Tuesday as Mike Pence issued a video message of support for those protesting against Maduro. Yes, I mean, isn't it interesting how the U.S. government is almost always in favor of some sort of an uprising when it's one of their enemies in the world? But boy, oh boy, if you get out into the streets and start causing some protest, then they will crush you under their boots.
Well, I'll take it a step further, Ian. You know, I think it's funny that the U.S. will support whatever side the bank support, just because whatever side they support is the one that'll make them the most money, and the U.S.
that's what it's all about. That's totally what it's all about. Soldiers have many reasons to be angry. Military installations are steadily decaying along with the rest of the country, and salaries quickly disappear amid 2 million% annual inflation.
And this is what got me curious. It's like if Maduro has if a status quo guy has a military on his side, and the military is going down the drain, I didn't understand why they were on his side. I mean, I'm sure the opposition government could, since they're promising change, that the military would back them or put their own person in.
So if you are in the military, try to put yourself into one of these guys' shoes. You have been trained to follow orders. You will do what you're told generally, and they're still taking care of you. Like, if you're in the government in Venezuela, you're getting paid. I mean, like they're saying here, the money doesn't go very far, but you're probably making more than the average Venezuelan is at a lot of things. So if you're feeding your family by supporting Maduro, it's going to be hard to turn against him, because then you're going towards a big question mark. There's more coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America. as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial on in here, take control of the airwaves, and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And that's where you can join us. You can bring up anything that you want with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Vincent.
Don't forget, Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com, your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. Perhaps you would like to learn the basics about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I was just at a hearing at the State House today in Concord, New Hampshire, with a few of the other folks from the area, including Chris Wade, our Friday night co-host. And they had a hearing about a bill that would allow require the New Hampshire treasurer or something like that to accept payment for tax payments in Bitcoin, which there's only one other state that you can do this in, and that's Ohio. It just happened this year. They allow you to pay business taxes in Bitcoin. I'm not sure exactly which taxes would be payable if this bill goes through in Bitcoin. But you talk about some people that need some basics. The state reps on this committee, they definitely need to go through the Bitcoin.com Academy so they can understand what Bitcoin really is. I'll have the video of that hearing probably sometime tomorrow, I would guess, on the Free Keen YouTube channel if you want to check that out. Meanwhile, get over to Bitcoin.com and you can learn the basics about Bitcoin and crypto. If you don't need the basics, let's say you want to get the latest news headlines, they've got that too. Plus the Bitcoin Forum where you can engage with the community and more. Go to Bitcoin.com. Now, there was one point of clarification, Vincent, I guess. You told me during the break that the 125 people that died, you thought that was today.
Yes.
I don't know what happened today yet. I have not actually read the reports on the details of the protests, but the 125 people was from 2017, and that was over a series of many weeks. So it went for it was in the springtime, basically, early summer, and it went for, I think, 2 or 3 months.
I see. I understand. Okay, that makes sense why people weren't as much up in arms. 150 in one day, that would be one thing.
And a lot of the 125 weren't even killed by Maduro's government gang. Maduro also has private gangs as well. So he's got and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the word. There's a certain term for them that, and I'm sure I could look it up, but these essentially low-life thugs, they're not even that probably. They're just thugs who are on Maduro's side, and so he gives them guns, apparently. And it's illegal to have a gun if you're just the average person in Venezuela, because Maduro, it was either Maduro or Chavez, outlawed guns at some point. So they used to have them, but they don't anymore. So these people are average people from Venezuela, so not military, not police, who, since they side with Maduro, they've been allowed to be armed. And then they can go out and do the dirty work that let's say the police or the military can't be seen doing.
Sounds a lot like Antifa.
Sure, except this time actually being funded by the government. Whether they're being funded by the government in the U.S. is probably up for debate. I would suggest likely not. But I wanted to clarify that situation. According to the story here at Reuters.com, the military installation, so they're looking at the situation with the soldiers in Venezuela, soldiers who are publicly stating they are standing by their man, Mr. Maduro. And the article kind of questions the status of the soldiers right now in Venezuela, saying that the military installations are decaying along with the rest of the country. Salaries quickly disappear amid 2 million % annual inflation. The guy on the phone last night said in Venezuela, if you go into a bar and you order a drink and then you order another drink, the price has gone up between the first and the second drinks. The prices of the drinks is higher by the end of the night. So you don't want to open a tab if you're in Venezuela. You want to pay for a beer, pay for the next beer, and probably want to pay for all three all at once, right? Like if you're planning on drinking 3 beers.
They update the prices in like real time.
As often as they can. Yeah. It's crazy. So more than 4,000 low-ranking officers deserted the military last year, according to official documents seen by Reuters. Opposition legislators are developing an amnesty proposal meant to coax disgruntled military leaders into turning on Maduro, based on what they say are conversations with active officers who are eager for change. So there's the official line. You know, if you're being interviewed by the media in Venezuela and they're like, well, tell me what you think about Maduro. If you don't say, boy, he's just the greatest president we've ever had. Things are wonderful out there. Yeah, you might be a little hungry, but you know what? You'd be starving if it weren't for the government. But, of course, the real feelings are going to be different. Cliver Alcala, a retired army general who was close to Hugo Chavez but fell out with the ruling Socialist Party in 2016, said the disputed inauguration has damaged Maduro's image among the troops. Quote, the barracks are not totally convinced that Maduro is really president, he said in an interview, but Maduro has worked hard to keep the military on his side, well aware of its crucial role. I mean, yeah, the military is what's standing in between an angry mob of people and this man being hoisted from, hoisted on a spit over a barbecue grill so people can get fed. He's put officers in charge of key posts in the government and the state oil company, which is called PDVSA, while offering lucrative oil field service contracts for military-linked firms.
Oh, that guy's pretty portly. Yeah, I guess they would have a decent
Maduro
from him. Yeah.
For
a leader of a starving country, empathizing with your people there, Maduro.
Authorities have pursued military personnel suspected of plotting against the government, which human rights groups say has led to torture of suspected dissidents and abuse of family members. The armed forces will also be sensitive to the lessons of the 20th century. Promises of a military quick fix to political instability in Latin American countries, including Brazil and Chile, gave rise to dictatorships that lasted for as long as 21 years and were later demonstrated to have abysmal records on human rights. And so the armed forces have remained silent as the economic collapse has left millions struggling to eat. Military leaders are, quote, not in the slightest bit concerned about maintaining their professional commitments, said the high-ranking military officer. They're concerned about protecting themselves. And for right now, the military is taking care of their men the best they can. They are feeding them, although there was one story a year or two ago about how some in the either police or the military had captured a stray goat and had slaughtered it because they were so hungry. So they're probably eating better than your typical Venezuelan, but I don't know how much better.
One would think that they would have just stockpiles of food in case a war breakout. They
probably have a lot of rations,
oil reserves, because if you're going to feed, if you might as well feed someone, it's going to be the guys with guns protecting you.
Exactly. And so that's what's going on. Now, you've got a statement from Donald Trump about his opinion about Nicolas Maduro.
Oh, not just his opinion, his official royal decree.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Absolutely. So, it's called Statement from the President Donald J. Trump recognizing Venezuelan National Assembly President Juan Guaido as the interim president of Venezuela. Today, I'm officially recognizing the president of Venezuela National Assembly, Juan Guaido, as the interim president of Venezuela.
Hold that thought. We'll continue here in moments. And again, it's not just Trump. It's a bunch of Latin American countries also basically doing the same thing. I think the list of countries recognizing Maduro is much shorter. You got countries like Iran and Russia on that list. More coming up.
A doctor's office visit for erectile dysfunction on my smartphone? That's crazy.
No, that's the bestedpill.com. ED can affect 40% of men by age 40. Now, there's a 95% less expensive option than Viagra. After a live confidential video consult with a fully licensed doctor, we ship medicines fast, free, and direct in discreet packaging. Read thousands of 5-star reviews. Click thebestedpill.com. That's THE bestedpill.com, the online doctor's office.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us here. We got more from Trump's statement about Maduro, the Venezuelan dictator who has assumed a second term in office, and many nations around, nation-state representatives are saying publicly, no, we don't recognize this. Trump further saying he's going to recognize the opposition leader as the interim president, and there may be more sanctions coming as a result of the controversy down there in Venezuela and the ultimate abject failure of the Venezuelan socialist state. You can join us here and comment on whatever's on your mind. We got more of that on the way. Plus, your calls and thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to the phones. In fact, to the Discord on-air call-in line rooms where Mark Edge is on the line with us, calling from Houston. Hello, Mark.
Hey, how's this audio working? I haven't done this before.
Sounds all right.
I'm glad things are working out.
All right, what's up?
I just wanted to tell you my adventures at the airport. The TSA has been in, not getting paid for quite some time, and I wanted to give you an update, having flown today.
Were they blasting rap music from the overhead speakers? We heard that at least one TSA group was doing that recently.
Nope.
No, that's disappointing.
I got to say the TSA was faster than they've ever been before.
That's weird. You said the same thing in Hartford, and Hartford's a smaller airport. Houston is no small airport, right?
No, it was. Well, we didn't go through Houston. We went through Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. Still not a small airport.
Not a small airport.
Yeah.
They didn't require us to take liquids out of the bag, but I don't think that
really
is new.
Okay.
So
do you still have to take your shoes off?
They didn't have to take their shoes off.
Really? Wait. They told just one person, or?
Yeah, I think it was an older person, though,
I see.
and I'm not sure what the rules are.
Okay.
So I think they're doing mainly the same rules that they are before, but it seems like they're going faster.
Interesting.
This is why you should never pay anyone by the hour.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. It incentivizes inefficiency.
To tell you about the little adventure on the plane. Do you remember the guy from the United flight probably 3 or 4 months ago that got sort of beaten up and drug off?
Yeah, that's right. There was video of that.
Well, they have a system for stopping that from happening now.
Really?
So there was an older Hispanic woman. There was a huge language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
There might have been some medical issue. I'm not sure why she needed to get off the plane, but they brought a cop in to ask her to get off the plane. She wouldn't get off the plane. I couldn't hear anything, although I was like 3 or 4 rows away. So I'm not entirely sure what the story was as to what that was all about. But they unloaded the whole plane. Everybody had to debark. So that they could send people in to get this lady out of the plane. They didn't want us to take video of them tasering her or something.
Okay, who did they send in? And so when you left the plane, were you still kind of hanging out in the terminal, and were you able to watch them bring her off?
Yes. So we didn't see all the cops go in. I did see a cop there, but I didn't see this team of like 5 cops that went in. I did see one extra kind of, big muscular guy, the kind of where the arms don't go all the way down to your side, kind of muscular.
Okay.
And he went in, and I checked to see whether he had a taser or a gun, and he had a gun. So they brought in one of those airport wheelchairs that go down the aisles of the plane, popped her on that, and they brought her out. She was crying and sort of talking, but I couldn't understand her as she went by. I mean, perhaps I should have snapped a picture of her, but I did not.
Yeah.
And, she went by, and, with a little team of cops.
Yeah, you should have gotten video. You should have gotten video. You're right.
So, I mean, it wasn't much. It wasn't very compelling video. It has to go with the story to be very interesting.
Sure.
And I got one more piece of interesting airport news.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, that kind of stuff has a real viral potential to it. Anyway, go ahead.
So we went to a steakhouse in Houston. We missed our flight because of this lady.
Wait, I thought you were on the flight. How did you miss the flight if you were on it?
Well, there's 2 planes. You go from Tampa to Houston to Roatan.
Oh, okay. So you had boarded the flight to leave Houston, though, right? That was when you got kicked off, or did
go
they
to Houston?
Oh, wait, I'm lost. So wait, you were getting on a plane in Tampa, and then they took you off that plane. Then you missed your flight.
Well, we got back on that plane.
Oh, okay.
To fly to Tampa, to fly to Houston.
Then you missed the connecting flight. I see. I'm sorry.
Roatan had already left.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
Sufficiently that we didn't get on the other flight.
All right. So what's the other story?
Then we ended up at a steakhouse. They gave us some vouchers to eat, so we ended up at a steakhouse there in the airport. They gave us real metal forks, plastic knives. It was really bizarre.
They gave you what? You cut out there for
jail.
A moment. They give you what? Plastic knives?
Plastic knives.
What the hell? At a steakhouse?
Was it really tender?
They were shiny plastic, though.
Was this? I'm sorry, I missed this. Was this in the airport, or was this just somewhere in Houston?
No, this is in the airport.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I mean, you've got all that time between flights. You could take the knife, sharpen it up on the wall like they do in jail. You can go around shanking people. It's really important that you not have a metal knife in the airport.
All right. Hey, thanks for sharing that tonight, man. Anything else?
That's my adventure. I basically am in jail. They gave me a hotel room that I'm not going to leave. So it's a really nice jail.
So is it one of those hotels that's connected to the airport?
It's the darn shuttle kept being full. We saw it go by 2 times and it kept filling up. So we just ended up buying a taxi to go to the hotel.
Huh. Okay. Gotcha. Well, have safe travels when you're heading down to Roatan. Sounds like a fun little journey with the family. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. We're going to get to the statement from Donald Trump coming up here in moments about Maduro, and I do have an update on these protests. There's news coming in about those. We'll share with you what's been going on, at least according to the media who are reporting on it. But first, we go to Julio on the line in North Carolina. Hello, Julio.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's on your mind tonight, Julio?
Well, I am actually an illegal immigrant, but I just want to know what you guys think about the wall.
Well, I don't know if I believe you that you're an illegal immigrant, but what do you think about the wall?
He's tracing this call right now.
I'm honestly, I don't know. I understand the whole message of the, make America great again and like border security, but like, I don't know. Mexicans will smuggle a lot of drugs to the United States.
Where are you an immigrant from,
cool.
Julio?
What?
Where are you an immigrant from?
From France.
Okay. Can you speak some French for me?
Bonjour, bonsoir.
Yeah? Vincent, you speak French, don't you?
Why? Well, it's a different dialect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What part of France?
Well, it's French. I mean, it's French Canada.
So you're from Quebec?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, Vincent, you're from Quebec as well.
Absolutely.
Where in Quebec?
This guy he may be my cousin.
Yeah,
there aren't that many people living up there.
Well, yeah, there's only, I think most people descended from like the same 8 settler family, so it is possible. I am related to Celine Dion and
is that right?
Madonna. Yeah,
is that where you get the hair from?
Blood related, probably.
Thanks for the call, Julio. I don't know if I buy what you were saying. A man named Julio who claims to be French Canadian.
Well, sometimes I hear because there's been immigration from like Portugal and Spain to the Montreal area.
Is that right?
So it's not
an international
implausible.
City.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big. Yeah. I think it's like 55% English speaking. Last I checked.
Toronto's like that too. There's a lot of people from all over the planet that have settled in Toronto. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Coming up, the rest of the statement from Donald Trump about Nicolas Maduro. Headline from the Washington Post as well. Venezuelan President Maduro gives U.S. diplomats 72 hours to leave after the U.S. recognizes opposition leader as interim president.
That escalated quickly.
As protests are in the streets, protests turn violent in parts of Caracas, according to Bloomberg reporting on that. More coming up. You can share your thoughts with us here. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE like freedom.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What's in store for your business this week at Staples?
Your promotion to CIO, Chief Ink Officer.
Because right now at Staples, you get 25% back in rewards when you spend $75 on ink or $200 on toner.
With savings that big, you'll be the Director of Deals, the President of Printing.
Get 25% back in rewards on ink or toner, now at Staples.
Where there's a whole lot in store.
Ends 1/26/19. Restrictions apply. See store or staples.com/25back for details.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When picking a phone number for business, what sounds more professional? Your personal number?
Hold on, let me give you my cell. And actually, let me get yours too, just so I don't ignore your call, you know?
Or a dedicated business number, courtesy of Grasshopper.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Our number's 1-833-IT-TROOP. Give us a call anytime.
There's no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up whatever's on your mind here. Our number's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by AnyPay. If you are interested in accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Zcash or maybe Dash at your point of sale at your local business that you own and operate, well, then get over to anypay.global and get started. And when I say get started, you can also finish within minutes of getting the process started. The process is you create your username and password, you get in, you put your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the back end, and then you load the app on your point-of-sale device. That's it. You're done. You're accepting crypto. It's that easy. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. There's no application fee or form or waiting or anything like that. Just go and get started for free, by the way. This costs you nothing to accept crypto through AnyPay. AnyPay.global. As we continue here, Rev is on the line in Florida. Rev, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
How are you, my friend? So good to have our golden child, Vincent, in the studio. Big V.
Vincent is not my child, and I don't think he's your child.
He said golden child. Well, it's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to finally get some appreciation around here.
All right, Rev, what are you calling about?
All right. So I called in earlier, and I know you heard me, Ian, and I figured I'd ask, or I'm sorry, I called in Will and Aria's show, and that was pretty interesting. So I wanted to call and ask you guys the same question. So from a philosophical/historical standpoint, by your definition, and we all need to do our own research, of course, but what would you say are the real primary differences between libertarianism and anarchism?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think some people would say that a true libertarian is an anarchist if you are using the definition of a libertarian being somebody who is in favor of the non-aggression principle. The non-aggression principle is the idea that it's not okay, it's in fact wrong to use aggressive force against your peaceful neighbor. If that person, you want to force them to do a thing or force them to not do a thing, that's not okay. That's not the way, civilized people should act. But yet that is the basis behind the state as we know it. When I say the state, I mean all forms of government, federal, state, local, is backed by that threat of force. And so therefore, to follow the libertarian principle to its logical conclusions would make one an anarchist. But of course, many people will argue that libertarianism is this big tent, that it includes people who just want smaller government, people who believe in some taxes, which of course is a way of saying people who believe in some aggressive use of force. And so I would say that ultimately they're the same thing. I don't prefer either term. I like the term voluntarist. I like the idea of speaking in favor of a thing rather than against a thing. So an anarchist is somebody who is against the state. They're against the government, essentially. They're against coercion. Whereas a voluntarist is somebody who is speaking in favor of what they're for. A voluntarist is for human interaction being consensual. So I prefer the more positive terms. So that's my answer to your question. Do you want to comment, or should Vincent jump in here with his?
Well, I just wanted to ask, and then I'll ask what Vincent identifies as.
Okay.
I feel like we're asking, what's your gender identity, girl? But I won't go down that
Well, no,
road.
you asked what the difference was. I just happened to say I like the other term better than those two. But anyway, go ahead, and then Vincent will answer.
Yes, sir. So you would identify, Ian, if someone asked what is your main political leaning, you're a voluntarist. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's a political leaning. That's just a leaning about how humans should interact with one another. I mean, I'm essentially against politics entirely. I find it to be detestable, despicable. I find politicians to be horrible as far as human beings are concerned. They're sociopaths, possible psychopaths, and politics sucks. So I'm against politics. Being a voluntarist isn't necessarily a statement on anything else besides all human interaction should be consensual. That's the ideal. Now, the reality of life doesn't really lead to ideals being completely applicable. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So what is So what does Vincent identify as then?
I guess for simplicity, I'd say libertarian. But But
what's the difference? Is there a difference in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. I think libertarian is a term that's like a big tent term that can mean people who want, let's say like American libertarianism, because libertarian in the U.S. can mean something different for someone in Canada or Mexico. So I'd say libertarian as the way most people would agree on is wanting a system of government that's less controlling as it is now. I don't think anyone could say that it's a military government. I've been in somewhat of a...
Hold on. Would somebody, just to call you out on that statement, would somebody who wants a 1% smaller government, but no further, they just want to cut back this one program over here to make the government smaller. Is that a libertarian?
That's a good question. I think it's difficult to make a measure of that because, like, how does one objectively make government smaller? It's like we say, you know, big, you use terms like big or small if it's when really we're talking about aspects of control. And that is a good point. I think the general, and which is why, you know, I mean, it's hard to come up with a definition we all agree on because someone who say, you know, someone could want all drugs to be legalized, but all the guns to be confiscated. So, I mean, that's
would that make them a libertarian?
By no means. No,
I would say
absolutely not. Me, getting past that, you know, just because it's difficult to describe for all people what everyone could agree on. Me, I'd say, I guess, like I don't think it's possible for people to be without a government. Not saying it's going to be a disaster if it wasn't, but just the way people are, especially since I started reading the Bible and getting realizing that all these nations, like the whole world is the sandbox of the devil, right? And it says there in when Satan was tempting Jesus, he said, look, if you bow down and worship me, all these kingdoms will be yours. And Jesus doesn't refute this by saying you're lying. He says, get behind me, Satan. And so all government is...
You're saying the government is part of the devil?
No, the government's run by the devil.
Okay.
And it's being influenced and run by it. All governments.
I think that's true. If you believe in the devil, I think that's probably true.
And so in the... and God, he has like commandments for people, but... it's not very many for government, and the purpose of a point, at least in the point of government, right, that God says what nations do is to prevent evil. So I think the government's job should be to prevent evil. So pretty much like a night watchman state where, you know, there's police, there's some sort of maybe not even an arbitrator, but yeah, so just basically to protect people, sort of like how even though they're despots. Back in say like King Herod's day, unless he made a decree to kill all the children, things weren't as tyrannical as today, where, you know, because King Herod didn't have a whole spy grid, drugs weren't illegal. So, yeah, long story short, I'm in favor of a night watchman state.
All right, fair enough.
So you're a minarchist.
No, I don't want to put labels. I don't want to put labels onto myself, but I could be.
No, I know.
I could be described as one. Yes.
All right. So the last thing, could I say one last thing real quick about it with the history? All right. Thank you. So, yeah. So it's interesting because if you listen, and you guys covered this earlier with the how the meaning is a little bit amorphous depending on what country or what like hemisphere of the world you're in. So real quick, like Noam Chomsky, for instance, if you ask like his brand of libertarianism or anarchism, and he's an anarcho syndicalist, which is more of like a worker-oriented thing. He claims that it has its roots in anti-statist socialism, whereas in the U.S., that when you hear libertarian, you think Ron Paul, like paleo-conservative social moderates. So I just thought that was interesting. And then ANCAP, so like I guess I'd be closer to an ANCAP, even though
ANCAP stands for anarcho-capitalist.
Yeah, that's what ARIA is. Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about Chomsky. I know he's a big-time leftist. I know he's a writer, but I've never read anything that he's written. I always question these people who claim to be anarchists, but yet they seem to support the state. So I don't know how you could be a socialist and not support the state, because socialism inherently is about state ownership of the means of production. So I don't get that.
Yeah, it's become that way politically. But anyway, I'll get off of here. Hey, Vincent, I look forward to Saturday night, my friend. Alex Jones might be calling in. You never know.
Really? Oh, my goodness. Have you heard about that, Vince? Did you know Alex Jones might be calling your show on Saturday night?
I got to get my invitation proper. Well, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, Rev. I appreciate hearing from you. He's referring to your show, Vincent. You host your own show, which is called Questioning Authority. It is available live on LRN.FM. Are you podcasting it?
Yeah, I'm posting it. Yep.
Okay. You've got an RSS feed?
Yeah. Yes, I definitely do.
Okay,
I have a new website coming out, so it'll be easier to do. Yep. I just got to finish, put some finishing touches on it.
When are you going to have that ready? Saturday?
Yes, by Saturday.
All right. That's exciting. So we won't announce it yet.
questioningauthority.libsyn.com. That's where the RSS
That's the podcast.
Feed is. Yep.
Yeah. All right. More on the way, but the actual website will be different. We'll announce that Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time over at LRN.FM. And speaking of 10 p.m., tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a Twitch-only after show called Freer Talk Live. So you can join us for that at twitch.lrn.fm. Hour 2 is next on the radio. Coming up.
Pain in my neck, back, and shoulders has really gotten worse.
Relief for body pain is here with Sunny Bay heating pads.
Well, the last thing I want is to take another pill, so what's so good about Sunny Bay heating pads?
Sunny Bay heating pads, made by Biomed DB Design right here in the USA, come in all sizes. Our extra large microwavable heating pad for back pain is designed to be large enough to cover your entire back. It's also perfect to wrap around your legs, knees, or shoulder and neck.
But I need to know they're good quality.
Of course, Sunny Bay heating pads and pillows are often an Amazon choice, and it's easy and most affordable when you purchase your Sunny Bay heating pads right from our website, sunshinepillows.com, or call us 253-678-1361.
Hey, a Sunny Bay heating pad
would make a great gift, right?
Yes, and they start at just $19.99 and free shipping is available. So call 253-678-1361 or shop for your Sunny Bay heating pad at sunshinepillows.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.21 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,278 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.16 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,551. Antiwar.com reports after rejecting a Pakistani proposal for peace talks in Islamabad, the Taliban met with U.S. Special Envoy Zalmay Khalilzad in Qatar, beginning a new round of talks on ending the Afghan war. This did not just come after rejecting Pakistan's proposal, which the Taliban didn't want to take, in part because the Afghan government was invited, but also just hours after the Taliban launched a major bombing attack in Afghanistan's Wardak province, killing 126 security forces. Reports are that the focus of the talks was on ending the war, with the Taliban hoping to get a specific timetable for withdrawal of U.S. troops. This is likely an even higher priority after U.S. requests for long-term bases threaten to derail the talks. There have been talks that the U.S. was hoping to have this deal wrapped up around April or May, which is why the U.S. wanted the Afghan government to delay their election. This is doubly true because there were reports the U.S. was offering the Taliban positions within a new interim Afghan government.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
UPI reports Democratic lawmakers from California have introduced bills in both houses of Congress that would give legal status to undocumented farm workers in the United States. The proposed legislation has widespread support from American farmers who worry about losing their workers. Brian Garwood, the owner of Garwood Orchards, a fruit farm in northern Indiana, said it would be a great thing if it got passed. I just don't have a lot of hope anymore that this will happen. The bills, SB 175 and HR 641, drafted by Senator Dianne Feinstein and Representative Representative Zoe Lofgren would allow farmers who have been in the fields for at least 100 days in the last 2 years to apply for a blue card to authorize them to work legally in the United States. The workers would have to pass background checks and pay fees. Children and spouses who live in the country would also be eligible. The House bill is co-sponsored by 58 representatives from 20 states and the District of Columbia. And the Senate bill has 11 co-sponsors, including Senators Kamala Harris of California and Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Both bills have been referred to committees. Farmers all over the country have long sought this kind of legislation. While some commodity crops like corn and soybeans can be harvested by machines, most of the vegetables and fruits that people eat must be picked by hand. That work was once done by Americans, but starting around the 1980s, they stopped taking the jobs. Farm laborers usually earn between $13 to $20 per hour, but it's backbreaking work that most Americans aren't willing to do. This is true across the country, according to the Farm Bureau. The majority of farm laborers in the United States today are from Mexico, Guatemala, or other Latin American countries. Some of those workers came to the United States legally through guest worker programs. Others did not. Many of the migrant laborers currently working on American farms have been in the United States for years or even decades.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports some 30,000 striking Los Angeles teachers will stay off the job through at least Tuesday, despite headway in marathon contract talks, according to the union on Monday, citing time needed for teachers to ratify any tentative deal before the walkout can end. The United Teachers Los Angeles Union said in a statement that the two sides are making progress in the negotiations aimed at settling a labor dispute that has disrupted classes for some 500,000 students in America's second-largest school district. Teachers walked off the job a week ago in their first strike in 3 decades against the Los Angeles Unified School District, demanding higher pay, smaller class sizes, and the hiring of more support staff such as nurses and guidance counselors. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Well, our own Rebecca Mera takes us on a tour of the Olympic Village.
We have a full-size bed, lounge area, shower, plenty of space, which is great because I'm constantly having sex in there.
The Village is a temporary home to the world's most physically impressive athletic men and women. It was important to the Olympic Committee to give them a comfortable, state-of-the-art area to each other's brains out while they're not competing.
We have a pool where they can have a sex, a theater where they can have a sex. All these athletes are hot, horny, ready to go. They deserve the best.
I was in Vancouver where I got eaten out by this French speed skater. I have to say, these facilities are even better, and I'm going to try to a Japanese guy.
You've spared no expense.
These athletes deserve the best. They sacrifice so much for their countries. They deserve to be able to until their and can't take it anymore.
And these facilities won't go to waste. Once the Olympics are over, they'll be converted to a resort where Russian businessmen can come to their prostitutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. As protests apparently turning violent in parts of Caracas, there were massive numbers of people out today. Maybe they're still out. We're not there, thank goodness. But trying to show their distaste, show their opposition for Nicolas Maduro, the now second-term president officially, at least if you believe his people. But other people are saying, no, not him. It's this other guy over here from the opposition side. We recognize him as the president, including Donald Trump. Vincent, you've got the statement. We're going to get to that coming up here from Trump. And then we'll talk about the other development, which is related to Trump, because Venezuela's Maduro has told the U.S. government, you got 72 hours to get your diplomats out. Well, now there's a response from the Trump administration about that, too. And let's just say they're calling a bluff, and things are going to get interesting. We'll share that with you here if you didn't think it was already interesting. Let's go to Sarah first, though, in New Mexico.
I could have called it.
You can set a watch to it, man. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, today I saw 3 officers with the 3 speeding radar guns used today. And
did that warm your heart when you saw that?
It really warmed my heart because I have never seen it since like 15 years ago. It was the last time was
just
used.
Feels good to you knowing that innocent, peaceful people would be targeted by these men with speeding guns who then use their, I don't know how many pounds these damn cars are, 2,000 pound or 1,000 pound or whatever, however much a police cruiser weighs. These very heavy cars.
Now they have the SUVs, right? All of New Hampshire, they remove their cruisers for SUVs.
And then they use that to chase innocent people down. And if they don't pull over, they'll run them off the road, throw down spike strips, shoot them. This is what you want to see happen? You want to see peaceful people run off the road, shot to death over speeding?
What is so innocent about it? They tried to kill me at 60 miles an hour on that
They tried to kill you?
Well, I mean, that's what they're doing. So I'm the one that called the Northeast, that police department. Northeast. I'm the one that called them, and I called the mayor's office. I'm the one that asked them.
Who did you call? Who did you call them on?
I called them on all of the speeders because they're going down.
All of them? My God, they must hate you. I mean, calling in all day long about every speeder that you see?
No, they should give her the keys to the city. She's helping people. She's keeping the streets safe.
Give her a cut. Maybe they ought to give her a commission on every ticket they write. How would you like that, Sarah? That could be a job for you.
But she'd lose all her benefits, though.
Oh, that's true, because she gets all that welfare.
Yeah, so
right?
it's counterintuitive. They incentivize people not to work.
You'll probably never work a day in your the rest of your life, will you, Sarah?
Well, you know what? This is my form of work. It's a lot of work calling the radio station when you guys hammer me. You attack me every which way. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, but it's not valuable because if you work, but it's not of value to anyone, then you're not really doing anything but wasting your time. Now, I'm not saying you're a waste of time, Sarah. I'm just saying you're not getting paid for it, so that's an indicator that it may not be that valuable. All that said, you have some value to me, and I do appreciate your calls because sometimes you bring up some really interesting discussions, and it is fun to have a foil.
Well, you know what?
You know what a foil is?
You know what? It's valuable when I'm shopping at Target and I got a bag of groceries and I could cross the street without all these cars coming down the hill 60 miles an hour.
Who goes to Target for groceries?
It's probably a super Target. Is it a super Target?
Oh, it's got food in it. They sell frozen food.
Yeah.
Well, the ladies,
they take EBT. That's the reason, right?
That's what your tax dollars are going to, getting junk Franken food.
Target's a ripoff. I mean, it's they've got the worst produce section that I've seen.
I didn't even know they had a produce section. I know Super Walmarts do. But.
Well, they have a thing called a Super Target. I've never seen one in my life, but I suspect they're in probably larger cities or larger metropolitan areas. Sarah, thank you for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Must be nice to be able to go out and get a bunch of food. The people in Venezuela are lucky to get a meal together.
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound elitist by criticizing Target. I was just surprised. I mean, I do shopping at Walmart.
Store. It's just not the right store for grocery shopping.
No, exactly. Yeah.
All right, back to the story here. Venezuela, you've got the story, the statement from Donald Trump.
Absolutely, yes.
And you've just barely got started, so maybe start it from the top.
Today, I am officially recognizing the president. No, I'm not going to do it. President of the Venezuelan National Assembly, Juan Guaido, as the interim president of Venezuela. In its role as the only legitimate branch of government duly elected by the Venezuelan people, the National Assembly invoked the country's constitution to declare Nicolas Maduro illegitimate and the office of a presidency therefore vacant. The people of Venezuela have courageously.
But before you go on, that was then supposedly slapped down by the Supreme Court because they're in the pocket of Maduro. So the National Assembly said, we don't recognize you. You're not the real president. And then the Supreme Court said, yeah, he is. So that's where we're at right now. Now there's protests in the streets. Go ahead.
The people of Venezuela have courageously spoken out against Maduro and his regime and demanded freedom and the rule of law. I will continue to use the full weight of the United States economic and diplomatic power to press for the restoration of Venezuelan democracy. We encourage other Western Hemisphere governments to recognize National Assembly President Guaido as the interim president of Venezuela, and we will work constructively with them in support of his efforts to restore constitutional legitimacy. We continue to hold the illegitimate
You're turning into Alex Jones.
Maduro regime directly. Well, no, I mean, he's threatening the guy here.
Oh, okay.
He's like, yeah, we'll use. Okay.
You're just getting really gravelly. It sounds like you're transitioning
trying to threat to
Alex Jones.
As we continue to hold the illegitimate Maduro regime directly responsible for any threats it may pose to the safety of the Venezuelan people. Because overthrowing a government certainly doesn't put people in danger there, Trump. As interim president, Guaido noted yesterday, violence is the usurper's weapon. We only have one clear action: to remain united and firm for a democratic and free Venezuela.
So that's Trump saying we must remain united and firm.
That's what the interim president, Guaido, yeah. That's what he said.
Related story here, Vincent, from Caracas over at the Washington Post. Nicolas Maduro faced the gravest challenge to his authority since assuming power in 2013 as the leader of the U.S.-backed opposition, claimed the legitimate mantle of leadership, and Trump and other world leaders promptly recognized him as Venezuela's interim and rightful head of state. Maduro responded by announcing a break in, quote, diplomatic and political relations with the United States, further ordering American diplomats to leave the country within 72 hours.
Well, and you can't blame him, not that I'm supporting him, but because have you noticed the way he described, the language Trump used in that release? Regime, U.S.-backed opposition. Those are terms that they use on a country that they're going to invade, right? Yep, via Saddam's regime, Assad's regime, North Korean regime.
God, I hope they don't invade.
U.S.-backed Syrian rebel opposition. It's like they're starting to demonize it, right?
Because if they invade, then innocent people are going to die because it's the U.S. military, and they're just going to end up bombing wedding parties and the things they normally do in the Middle East. They'll just do all that stuff in Venezuela. But you're right, Vincent. They may be actually gearing up for this.
Well, they don't start with bombing for wedding parties. That's in the inevitable insurgency based on U.S. occupation doctrine. First, they spend trillions of taxpayer dollars in shock and awe on starving troops there. Then they occupy it, and then the insurgency, and then the drone strikes.
Quote from a Trump official, they're not naming this official, "When we say all options are on the table, it means all options." Trump was pointedly asked later if military force was being considered. He said, quote, "We're not considering anything, but all options on the table. All options always are on the table." And then they go on here to talk about the protests. We can get into the alleged violence happening out there. Guaido told the crowd in Caracas, quote, "We will stay on the streets until Venezuela is liberated." So the last time they tried to do something like this, it lasted for months, and there was a lot of blood that was shed. So rumor has it there may be at least 4 dead in today's protests or sometime today in Venezuela. And now that they're kicking out, again, according to Maduro, they're demanding U.S. diplomats leave within the next 72 hours. But Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has basically said, and they're not going to go. So what happens after the 72-hour time limit's up?
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global. There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Whoa! That's what packet loss sounds like. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're diving in here as deep as we can, being all the way up in New Hampshire, to what's going on in Venezuela with protests in the streets. Once again, another attempt to oust Nicolas Maduro, the president now taking a second term. The opposition saying, no, we don't recognize you. The National Assembly saying, no, we don't recognize you. The Supreme Court trying to overturn the National Assembly saying, yes, we do recognize you, but countries in the world, and you've got a list, I think, Vincent, of which countries have signed on with Trump basically saying here, yeah, we don't recognize Maduro, we're recognizing this other guy, Guaido, that's right. Guaido, who is the opposition leader. So it's Ian and Vincent in the studio here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE if you want to join us. A little bit more on this, and then the response from Trump's administration to Maduro's demand that the U.S. pull their diplomats out. So Maduro saying you've got 72 hours to get your diplomats out of our country, and Trump's basically saying, oh yeah? Well, what if we don't? And we'll tell you what that is all about coming up here in moments, your calls and thoughts. Let's go to Bill. He's in Texas. Bill, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
Hey, I hope all is well.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just talking about people getting run over. You know, Sarah always talks about pedestrians getting run over.
Yes.
did you ever see the video where it was all over the news that the automatic self-driving car ran over somebody? Did y'all recall that?
Yeah, I recall hearing about that. I don't think I saw video, but I definitely heard about. I think we talked about that. I think Sarah actually called about it at some point.
Yeah, and I actually watched the video, and you could clearly see the person who is supposed to be the watcher, texting or not. She was doing whatever she was. That she just wasn't paying attention.
It's hard to find good help.
Well, if you're going to have a self-driving car, why bother paying attention if you're going to pay all that money, right?
Well,
if I have a self-driving car,
Vincent,
I'm going to be playing like Xbox. And,
we're not there yet. The idea is they have a person who's supposed to be there working to monitor. They're testing the self-driving car.
I see.
These are not actually available to the mass market yet. So this person's job was to pay attention and make sure the car doesn't run into anybody, because they've got like a brake pedal there and a steering wheel in case they need to grab a hold and take control of the vehicle. Bill, what else? Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So my point to if you saw a video and it's been a little while since I've seen it, so maybe I'm not recalling it exactly correct, but I feel like maybe had she been driving, even she might have hit that person. Because here's the thing about that video. First of all, it was nighttime, and and this person was crossing what appeared to be maybe not an interstate, but like a 4-lane highway or a 4-lane road that was kind of like a highway, and she's just crossing in the night, in the middle of nowhere, kind of no crosswalks, no lighting. And that woman looked as surprised as I'm sure the observer was whenever she got hit or when she hit her.
Huh.
And that woman, I think I read, killed her, and I think she was 42 years old or something like that. I'm sorry she died, and then maybe she made a mistake, or I'm talking about the person who got ran over. She clearly ran in front of a moving car at nighttime.
Okay, well, that was going to be one of my questions. Was it nighttime? You're saying she basically ran right out into the lane without looking?
Pretty much. I mean, she, like I said, she looked surprised.
That's just Darwin right there. Darwin Award.
So, thank you. Because that's kind of what my point was. I was sitting there thinking, like, it's one thing if you're, maybe mentally disabled or you're 8 years old or something like that, or 5 or whatever, but you're, 40-some-year-old woman or person.
Yeah.
Man, you should see me crossing a regular intersection during broad daylight. I'm afraid a cop's going to approach me because he's like, you just robbed a bank or something, because my head is on a swivel.
Right, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to look both ways and do it more than once, because you might have missed something the first time. I mean, I learned this when I was like 5, maybe even younger.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I say that, too, is because I've seen videos, and maybe we all haven't seen these videos. I've seen videos where a pedestrian was crossing the street, doing everything as he should have been, even paying attention, but someone else wasn't paying attention and read a red light, and somehow or another, one of the cars ended up rolling into the pedestrian, and the pedestrian, it was like you'd have to be in like a superhero to get out of the
basic rule that I think you should play by, whether you're a pedestrian or a driver, is presume the other people don't know what they're doing and they're crazy. So, if you just presume you're in the worst of circumstances, then you just be careful and not do stuff like pull out in front of somebody that's going 100 miles an hour, or, jump into the road when, it's nighttime and you're not looking. Hey, thanks for the call, Bill. I appreciate hearing from you. But, common sense is not present with everybody. And so, therefore, Darwinism will take those people out if they're allowed to make their own decisions for themselves, which, as we've seen in a lot of cases, the government wants to protect you from making decisions for yourself. And that's, of course, results in keeping people alive who otherwise probably wouldn't make it. So, back to the story here on the Maduro / Guaido situation down there in Venezuela. It's coming to a head, perhaps, here. At least that's what the opposition would like to have happen. They would like to have Maduro tossed out on his butt. It seems like, at least from the outside, that the military is still supporting Maduro. However, there's now been a threat from Maduro to U.S. diplomats saying, you got to get out within 72 hours. Here's what Mike Pompeo had to say in response. This is CNN reporting. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo issued a statement Wednesday responding to Maduro's demand that diplomats leave within the next 72 hours. He said the U.S. will maintain diplomatic relations with Venezuela despite Maduro's order. He went on to say the U.S. has recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's interim president. Quote, the United States maintains diplomatic relations with Venezuela and will conduct our relations with Venezuela through the government of interim President Guaido, who has invited our mission to remain in Venezuela.
Wonder how long it is until Guaido gets black bagged or arrested, or a gas leak explodes in his house.
Great question, because that wouldn't be the first time that Maduro has targeted the leader of his opposition. He told I think he put another guy in prison before he could run against him on a previous election. I think his name was Capriles. But anyway, the United States, this more from Pompeo here, he says, the United States does not recognize the Maduro regime as the government of Venezuela. Accordingly, the United States does not consider former President Nicolas Maduro to have the legal authority to break diplomatic relations with the United States or to declare our diplomats persona non grata. He also issued this warning, quote, the United States will take appropriate actions to hold accountable anyone who endangers the safety and security of our mission and its personnel. That's the statement that basically says you attack our diplomats, you try to touch them, we will respond potentially with force. And so you may be right, Vincent. There may be an invasion of Venezuela from the United States, with one side saying, come on in, and the other side saying, stay out. We'll continue to share this as it develops. It is Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free here. Bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can jump in here, talk about whatever you want to discuss. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Vincent.
Smart Cash. It's a peer-to-peer digital currency. It's fast, secure, and it's easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. Now, Smart Cash is a newer cryptocurrency within the last year or two, and it's an affordable cryptocurrency. You can get 1,000 Smart for probably less than $20 right now. And if you get 1,000 Smart and you hold that 1,000 Smart in a wallet that you control the keys, you hold that 1,000 Smart without any outgoing transactions for at least a month's time, then you are going to receive Smart rewards, meaning you will get paid more Smart for holding on to the Smart.
So it's like a proof of stake?
Yes, there's a proof of stake aspect for sure to Smart Cash. They also have the ability to vote. So if you have one Smart, you've got one vote, meaning anybody who holds Smart has the ability to vote on proposals, like the proposal that got us this sponsorship, for instance. So you can go to smartcash.cc, learn more there. You can cast your vote through the official Smart wallet that they have, smartcash.cc. As we continue here talking in detail about the Venezuelan conflict that seems to be getting, once again, people out into the streets in large numbers. We were looking at sort of a panned photo or video from the Washington Post. I don't know how many tens of thousands, or if not hundreds of thousands of people went out in Venezuela today. I haven't seen any estimates quite yet. And I know you've got a list of some of these countries here, Vincent. We're going to get to that are siding with the new supposed, this opposition leader, Juan Guaido, saying that he is the rightful leader of the country. And of course, I hate calling politicians leaders, so I want to correct myself on that. But
well, I wouldn't say that they're siding with the United States. We're just recognizing Guaido as the head of state
instead of Maduro.
Yes,
and Maduro's claiming he's got a second term. According to the Washington Post story on this, Maduro's claim to power is based on elections last year that were condemned as fraudulent internationally. A power grab, and were meant to maintain his grip on the nation at the time when Venezuelans are suffering a massive humanitarian crisis. Mismanagement, corruption, failed socialist policies have broken the oil-producing nation, spreading hyperinflation, hunger, and disease. Now, by the way, hyperinflation isn't something that's a result of socialist policies. That's a policy of its own.
It's monetary policy.
Correct. Hyperinflation isn't a symptom, and this is something the press gets wrong all the time. They're like, whoa, where'd this inflation come from? Oh, how'd that happen? Well, the reason why inflation happens is because somebody in the central bank turned on the printing presses. Now, of course, in the case of Venezuela, they don't actually have printing presses. They hire out private companies to make their currency, but they inflate the money supply. That's what inflation is.
And you'll have people in academia says, oh, inflation's good. It gives more money to people.
So stupid.
I've had not professors, but I've had teachers tell me. Yeah, actually, I had one professor mention that.
What's the difference between a professor and a teacher?
When I say teacher, I mean this was in high school.
Oh, okay.
When I say professor, yeah.
So, the government used repression, torture, and exile to keep dissidents in line. Though stripped of its power by Maduro, the National Assembly, headed by Guaido, is widely acknowledged internationally as Venezuela's last democratic institution. Even before Guaido's announcement, he had been recognized by Brazil and the head of the Organization of American States as Venezuela's rightful leader. On Wednesday, a list of other countries, including Colombia, Chile, Paraguay, who else is on the list there?
The list here that says following Trump, the U.S.'s lead is Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and Panama.
Okay. Apparently that's not a full list here. So maybe there were some other countries before Trump, right? So they're saying that others like Paraguay and Chile also recognized Guaido. Eric Farnsworth, president of the Council of Americas, said, quote, this changes the game in Venezuela. It's an inflection point that turns the Maduro regime into an international pariah and gives an immediate boost to Guaido's claims under the Venezuelan constitution. But it's not without risk, either by Guaido or the Trump administration. Maduro will never accede to this course or willingly give up power. He's going to have to be forcibly removed, basically, is what they're saying. They're going to have to either forcibly remove him and just kill his men, or they're going to have to somehow push him out by running him out of the state. Because sometimes these dictator types manage to escape in all of these a lot of these situations where they'll escape to some other country and just retire super wealthy.
Santa Anna lived in the U.S. after he was ousted by Mexico.
But see here, the U.S. administration appears to be waiting to see how Maduro reacts before taking its next step. Again, if you're just tuning in, Maduro said get out within 72 hours to U.S. diplomats, and Trump's administration saying we're not going anywhere. We don't recognize you as the legitimate government here. We recognize this other guy, Guaido, and he's saying he wants us here. So what's going to happen after 72 hours is up remains to be seen. According to the story here, before Maduro's declaration of a break in ties, senior administration official briefing reporters under the rules imposed by the White House made no mention of expelling diplomats or diverting frozen assets to institutions chosen by Guaido. Asked directly if an oil embargo is imminent, the official replied, quote, when we say all options are on the table, it means all options. In ordering diplomats out of Venezuela, Maduro decried past American intervention in Latin America and a nefarious plot against him by the, quote, Gringo Empire. Guaido still faces a formidable security apparatus at Maduro's disposal, and experts warned he could yet survive this challenge, as he has others in the past. Guaido's bold move, meanwhile, puts him at risk of arrest, which is your prediction here, or worse. Caracas Capital Markets, which is a brokerage in Florida, Russ Dallin said this, quote, these democratic tools tend not to work as much in Venezuela because of government repression. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but if marches were enough to depose Maduro, they would have done it many times before. And as I think it was the Reagan administration official has famously stated, let them protest so long as they pay their taxes. Now, of course, in the case of Venezuela, I don't know how many of them are still obeying the government and paying taxes. I mean, because they don't really have any valuable money left.
And what's the government doing for them recently that they'd be, willing to pay taxes for?
Right. Just oppressing their friends and their neighbors. It remains unclear if Maduro's move to break diplomatic ties would also mean a halt in sales of Venezuelan oil to its largest cash-paying customer, the United States. Such a move has long been studied by Trump, though it has failed to follow through on threats to impose an embargo, in part of fear of hurting the Venezuelan people, as well as U.S. refineries that are dependent on Venezuelan oil shipments.
So I feel like I just have to say this, that from at least what you're reading, a lot of these places are trying to position, people like having good guys and bad guys. And I see Guaido there, they're positioning him as a good guy.
The good guy.
Mind you, and they say how, his election was fraudulent according to all these, democracy groups. But these people, the National Assembly, that's totally fine. That's totally legitimate. I mean, I think it's sort of for the Venezuelan people, I think that, or at least, it's because Guaido and that, they were all behind Chavez, right? For all, socialists.
Guaido? I mean, he doesn't look that old.
No, the National Assembly, I mean. That sort of spec. So I wouldn't doubt that this is like, that this is some sort of way, there's like outside influence coming in, or it's just like, shifting the board. It's like a heads you win, tails you lose sort of thing. I've been reading Animal Farm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the people of Venezuela are... If Guaido is better than Maduro, that's a step in the right direction, but it's probably not going to be a giant step. Well, he's just another power seeker.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that just from what I'm predicting, or predicting what I think will happen, is for just replacing a strongman dictator with a cabal of, globalist, elitist.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and that's the other thing. You never hear in any of these stories about what the opposition stands for. They're just the opposition. We know Maduro's bad. We don't really know. I mean, we don't. I'm sure some people in Venezuela know a thing or two about this Guaido character. But, the national stories, the international headlines, say nothing about what this guy believes or what it is that he wants. More coming up.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
I'm getting joined by Ellie Granderson. She's going to put a feminine scope on these lace kerchief starbuggers and give us her lady opinion. Ellie?
Hi, Joe.
It riles me up every time you walk in here, Ellie. You set my blood to dancing with all your pillowy parts.
Oh, stop it, Joe.
Now give it to me, no fimble famble, Ellie. When we start dusting these rocket boys' lily white bottoms with baby puff?
Joe, since the end of the Cold War, NASA has basically functioned as a giveaway to the American aerospace industry, wasting trillions of taxpayer dollars every year on extravagant programs with no tangible benefit.
Finds a plum to look at, all the sense of a badger to boot.
Joe.
Now I've been thinking on, I got these three little chickens pecking on my head while save NASA some coin. Man wants to go to space, can strap on the helmet, climb in the cannon, let the Chinese gunpowder carry him off among the stars. He'll come back now. Gonna skin a fox in one throat, and you're gonna fancy on it.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial in toll-free here to join us and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We've been focusing on international news tonight, specifically that coming out of Venezuela. It appears to be boiling over yet again. This time you've got protests in the streets demanding that their man be put in. Now, it would actually be interesting to see, and I didn't actually look during the break because I was eating cheese doodles. But as people were noticing on the webcam over at twitch.lrn.fm. But it would be interesting to find out about this Guaido character and find out, what does this guy actually believe? Over all the time that we've talked about Venezuela and all the interesting things that have gone on there, we've never really found out anything about the opposition. And I suspect that, as it tends to be with people, right, in any group of people that gets larger than, say, a dozen or a few dozen, you're going to have schisms. So the one thing the opposition agrees on is Maduro's got to go. But I bet you that's the end of the agreement. At that point, it's like, well, we think this or we think that. They're going to disagree on various different issues. The opposition will schism the moment Maduro is on the outs.
Well, when they say opposition, it makes it sound as if it's like it's an unbalanced sort of conflict. As I'm having a hard time explaining. Or when people say opposition, like the Syrian opposition, people think it's a group of people or rebels. Well, this is the government. It's in a sense a civil war. I mean, I guess if they do start fighting,
it's starting to look that way. I mean, at the moment, Maduro's got control of the military, but if more of these military guys break off, and thousands of them have just quit their jobs over the last year or so, just within the last week or so, 27 National Guardsmen tried to take over a couple of military outposts with violence. So maybe Maduro doesn't have the rock-solid grasp on his military that he thinks that he does.
I do have a little bit here via Wikipedia page
about Guaido.
Yeah, it's small and has a lock on it, but it's just some brief stuff. He was originally an engineer and then became a politician. He did activism and he was part of student-led political movement that protested against the Venezuelan government's decision not to renew the broadcasting license of independent television network RCTV.
Okay, so he supports free speech, or at least ostensibly.
Well, yeah, ostensibly. The group also protested broader attempted reforms of the government by Hugo Chavez, including the constitutional referendum of 2007, which Chavez won. He became one of the founding members of the Popular Will Party. And that's
what we got to look into. Popular Will Party.
Which is described as a centrist social democratic political party. Admitted into the Socialist International in December of 2014.
There you go. See, that's exactly what I predicted. I said this is just replacing one dictator with another wannabe, with another socialist. Oh, my socialist policies will work, which is what all these socialists say. Oh, no, they just did it wrong. The Russians did it wrong. The Venezuelans did it wrong under Maduro and Chavez. Just put my guy in charge, and then everything will work when we start using the violence of the state to force people out of their wealth. That works every time, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, get the re-education camps in case people are having China. A hard time. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Dahlin said the Trump administration in recent days had advised U.S. refineries, this is the Washington Post story about what's going on down there, of possible oil sanctions against Caracas, a move that would not damage the U.S. oil sector nearly as much as it would have years ago. Venezuela's oil production has collapsed under Maduro. It currently sells around 500,000 barrels per day to the United States, which is about half the volume of a decade ago. The U.S. could potentially make up for a banned Venezuelan oil by sourcing more from countries such as Mexico and Colombia. Venezuela, which produces a cheaper, sludgy, heavy crude, could divert U.S.-bound shipments to countries like India, though it would likely receive lower profits given far higher transportation costs. Amid sharply rising tensions between Washington and Caracas, the U.S.-backed opposition Wednesday filled the streets with the largest anti-government protests since 2017 when hundreds of thousands sought Maduro's departure. That movement was ultimately crushed after official repression led to the deaths of more than 100 people, as we mentioned earlier tonight. Overnight, the smaller-scale protests that began Monday started to spread, with a throng of demonstrators in Bolivar State setting alight a statue of Hugo Chavez, the leftist firebrand who established Venezuela's socialist state and anointed Maduro as his successor before dying of cancer in 2013. Now, this is the kind of statue destruction that I like to see. Taking statues of political thugs and lighting them on fire, or pulling them down, or whatever.
To make room for the new political thugs who will inevitably take their place.
That's the problem, Vincent. It's so hard to get excited for a regime change because all you get is a new regime.
Well, exactly. And I made the 1984 quote the last time I was on, so I'll make the it's like Animal Farm, right? People wonder why Animal Farm doesn't have a happy ending, because if it did have a happy ending, then the whole point of a book about what revolutions do.
Right.
And George Orwell, he saw exactly what revolutions did when he fought in the Spanish Civil War on the side of a communist. And I'll say it again. The revolution is not. Or the dictatorship is not to safeguard any revolution. All revolutions just safeguard a new dictatorship.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, it's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. At least 47 people have been detained since Monday. At least one protester reported dead as of today, according to Foro Penal, a nonprofit legal firm that tracks and defends political prisoners. As people started to gather on a rainy Caracas morning, protests in some areas were being dispersed by security forces with tear gas. Nevertheless, crowds surged into the hundreds of thousands. In eastern Caracas, people yelled, "Who are we? Venezuela. What do we want?" What do you think they said? What do we want?
Change?
Freedom.
Oh, freedom.
They actually claim they want freedom. But once again, I'm going to be skeptical on this, because every movement to upend some sort of dictator or somebody that is terrible, terrifying, whatever, they're always asking for freedom and liberty. Liberty and freedom are two words that you hear around all these kind of protest opposition movements, but the reality is all they really want is freedom from Maduro's rule. They're not yet, many of them, maybe there are some libertarians down there, but they're probably like the libertarians here, less than 1% of any voting population.
Probably a lot skinnier than libertarians here too.
That's probably true. Gabriela Artisimuño, a 40-year-old lawyer, escaped tear gas in western Caracas and quickly joined the crowd in the east. Fear, she said? No, nothing. Freedom and my children are all I care about. I want everything I had before all this tragedy. The actions, according to the story here, against Maduro took place as U.S. officials sought to undermine him for recent days. Vice President Mike Pence Tuesday called Maduro, quote, a dictator with no legitimate claim to power, and backed the opposition protest as a, quote, call for freedom. Coming on the heels of a series of U.S. sanctions, the move prompted Maduro late Tuesday to order a revision of diplomatic ties with the United States. Maduro responded Tuesday saying, quote, never before has an official of such high rank gone out in the name of his government to say the Venezuelan opposition should overthrow the government, unquote. He then threatened the diplomatic action. We then heard Trump respond to that by saying, we're not leaving, we're not taking our diplomats out. So let's see here. Experts call Maduro's move to sever these relations with Washington risk. Such a move could give the Trump administration the trigger it's been looking for to take harsher steps, including freezing remaining government accounts and assets. They were even talking about taking the Venezuelan government accounts in banks in around other countries in the world and just handing them over to the opposition. So that would be an interesting way to change, the sort of a windfall of profits, literally, to the opposing side. They say here that such a radical step could help Maduro mobilize Venezuelans against a common enemy to the north, if they cut the relations, that is. Could put at risk the administration's control of Citgo, the U.S.-based oil firm owned by the Venezuelan government. So when you're buying Citgo gas, you're supporting Venezuela. You're supporting the Maduro state. Official state television channel Wednesday showed images of pro-Maduro crowds and urged viewers to join a counter-protest. The narrator said, "The streets belong to Chavismo," referring to the government's left-wing ideology and encouraging people to use that as a hashtag on Twitter.
Oh boy, the government endorsing hashtags. Isn't that great? Whose streets? Charitos streets.
Chavismo. At the pro-government demonstration, people wore red caps, because communism, and listened to Maduro and Chavez campaign songs. Guillermo Blanco, employee of Venezuela State Oil Company, says, quote, "Yesterday there was an insolent call by the United States. Today we have to go out to defend the revolution. We don't take orders from anyone."
Except Maduro.
Yeah. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. You can join us here. We got hour number 3 on the way, and you can bring up whatever you want. It is Free Talk Live. We'll talk Ocasio on the way.
We trust the power of artificial intelligence to do a lot for us. Recommend books, movies, find our perfect romantic match, even drive our cars. So why trust your investments to yesterday's technology? With VantagePoint, you don't have to. VantagePoint's patented artificial intelligence technology has been giving traders and investors the advantage they need and better protect them from sudden downturns. Because unlike humans, VantagePoint is able to analyze massive quantities of data all around the world in seconds, so you get the information you need to make the right decision at the right time. Our technology can forecast market trend changes with up to 86% accuracy. Wouldn't you sleep better knowing your hard-earned capital is protected and growing thanks to VantagePoint? Stack the odds in your favor. Text DEMO to 411-411. That's DEMO to 411-411. We'll send you a link to our free demo so you can kick off the new year in the black with VantagePoint software. Text DEMO to 411-411.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,282. Silver opened at $15.32, and Bitcoin is trading around $3,569. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Yellow Vest protesters are calling for a run on banks and a withdrawal of cash to frighten the state. The Free Thought Project reports the call comes as French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe said that about 80,000 law enforcement officers had been mobilized throughout the country, including about 5,000 in Paris alone, ahead of the 9th wave of Yellow Vest demonstrations scheduled for Saturday. Yellow Vest protesters have called on their supporters to withdraw their money from French banks in a bid to disrupt the system and to make the government heed the protesters' demands, specifically related to their right to propose and vote on new laws. The news network, France 24, cited a protester identified as Taz Son as saying that they are going to frighten the state with legal means without resorting to violence. Maxime Nicole, another Yellow Vest protester, in turn referred to a lot of people who he said are ready to withdraw their money from the banks. According to France 24's business editor, Christophe Dansett, the cash withdrawals would not affect French banks because the daily sum of cash a client is allowed to withdraw from an ATM is restricted. The Liberty Bean is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find them online at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using SNLS at the checkout at mybravebotanicals.com. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Your news now continues. United States Vice President Mike Pence has released a video in support of the Venezuelan protesters, calling Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro a dictator who had allegedly never won a free and fair election.
Let me express the unwavering support of the United States as you, the people of Venezuela, raise your voices in a call for freedom. Nicolas Maduro is a dictator with no legitimate claim to power.
Mint Press News reports the video was released January 22nd by Pence and carried a message delivered mostly in English with Spanish subtitles. Pence, in the message, said he delivered it on behalf of U.S. President Donald Trump and the American people. Trump makes no appearance in the video whatsoever. Lawyers for Julian Assange have filed an urgent application to the Inter-American Commission of Human Rights, based in Washington, D.C., to direct the Trump administration to unseal the charges it has secretly filed against Assange. Assange's lawyers are also asking the commission to compel Ecuador to cease its espionage activities against Assange, to stop the isolation imposed on him, and to protect him from U.S. extradition. The urgent request is in the form of a comprehensive 1,172-page application for precautionary measures directed to the international body, which monitors compliance of the U.S. and Ecuador with their binding legal obligations. Mint Press News says the calls to extradite Assange to the United States as a result of his work as a publisher and editor is the reason Assange obtained political asylum at Ecuador's embassy in London in August of 2012. The Trump administration is refusing to reveal details about the charges against Assange. Support for the Liberty Beat comes in part from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. It's simple. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details on how to advertise with the Liberty Beat. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is found online at snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for this Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
My fellow sheep, election season is upon us. Are you one of the 12% of Americans who still approves of our government? Then we need your help to force the other 88% into compliance. Our democracy depends on it. We're an organization called Citizens Against Too Much Unfettered Freedom, or CATMUF. CATMUF is a bipartisan flock of sheep whose goal is expanding government until nothing else remains. Because the government is here to help you. How can you help CATMUF help you? By only voting for candidates dedicated to expanding government. It's easy. You don't need to study the issues. No matter what a politician says when running for office, they're all dedicated to expanding government. And make sure you tell all your friends and family to vote for more government. Here at CATMUF, we don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican, as long as you vote for candidates committed to growing our federal family. CATMUF, because folks just aren't smart enough to handle real freedom.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll free and bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, Ian.
And Vincent.
We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms coming up. I think we've talked enough about Venezuela. I think we've pretty much
2 hours is enough.
Outlined what is going on down there as protests continue with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in the streets across the Venezuelan country. and, of course, many centered there in Caracas. If you want to weigh in on that, you're certainly welcome to do so. But we're going to continue. We'll take your calls and thoughts. And this Ocasio Cortez, the young socialist chick,
representative from New York,
who I guess we talked about her a little bit last week when you were on. Vincent,
yeah, I didn't know it was a coincidence that you brought her up only when I was here, because with the Onion story about Fox News obsessing over her all
24/7.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, she's basically given the right-wing media a punching bag or a doll or something to talk about constantly. And it's like, really, when I was at my dad's place just a few weeks ago, he has Fox News on all the time. I turned Fox News. Oh, coming up, Ocasio-Cortez. Like every show, we're talking about something she's saying. And I mean, if she's doing this on purpose, she's a genius, because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Well, there's people who disagree with that particular saying, but I think
those people are called wrong.
I think it tends to be a true statement. In the case of Ocasio-Cortez, now we actually have not reported on her very much. I think we touched on her election, back when it was happening.
Well, we're not reporting on her either. We're just repeating all the stupid
everything
stuff.
She says.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. She is kind of like Trump. He's kind of like a gold mine, right, for talk radio. He does and says some dumb things too, but he also does some really entertaining stuff as well, like firing a bunch of bureaucrats or politicians and
or shutting down the government for record lengths.
Yes, it's still presumably shut down. I haven't heard they've started it back up, so we're now over a month at this point of the government shutdown. So every now and then he's getting something right too, like the meeting with Kim Jong-un last year, which, by the way, Trump and Kim Jong-un expected to meet again coming up in February. There's a headline that Kim Jong-un was saying, quote, he expects, quote, step-by-step talks. So the North Korean government has already been making steps towards denuclearization as part of their agreement that they made last year with Trump and South Korea. And so this is going to take that presumably to whatever the next step is. So I think that's, I got to say, that to me so far is Trump's biggest win. The negotiating of some kind of peace between North and South Korea. Now, I don't know if they've officially ended the war yet, but they're working towards that eventual goal. So I think that's great news. Let's go to David. He's in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Vincent.
Yeah, what a coincidence. I talked to AOC last week.
AOC. You mean the Administrative Office of the Courts, which is what you've been calling about over the last several days. So what's the latest?
I wanted to reply to the question you posed as you were ending the topic on that, or responding to me yesterday. And that is that you have the state agency complaints, so that you may have some luck, or more likely they'll just ignore you. Like
your question was about what do you do when there's malfeasance within the government? Who do you go to?
Right, and so the various agencies like the Attorney General, the State Auditor, et cetera, you can file complaints with them, and maybe they'll help, maybe they won't. More likely they won't, because they're kind of censoring their own, and they don't like to do that. And so the outside the agencies, so the other issue and a better likelihood of a positive outcome would be to take it to court, and then you have to look at whether you're talking about state court or federal court.
Mm-hmm.
And in the state court, once again, you're less likely to have a great outcome because they're all cronies within the state court.
They all know each other.
To a great degree. Yeah, they all know each other, and even though it's a little bit easier to force a judge to do the right thing, if the law says clearly that the judge must do what you want them to do, it's a little bit easier to force their hand even when they don't want to. They still have the crony system going on. And I know that you're not quite a real fan of the federal courts. However, I've been watching the judges here in the federal courts for a decade as well, and I have seen some favorable results come out on questions like this, especially from a federal judge, James Parker, and another one, Judge Browning. They actually have helped some people, so that's a good sign.
Okay.
And the grounds for going in, I mean, if you go into state court, you're going on the argument that the state, here the state has written this statute, and clearly the evidence shows that the state is violating the statute, and you try to get the state court on that and get them to simply write an order and an injunction.
Right. And in that case, if the court were to write an order saying, You bad state actors, you need to do as we say, or as I say, I, the state, I, the court, say. Then, if the state actor does not do as that judge demands, that would then be contempt of court. So you may be right. Federal court may be your best bet as far as trying to hold state government bureaucrats accountable. Thank you, David, for the call tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450 for you, because then if you're held in contempt, then in theory, the judge could throw you in prison over that. Because contempt is sort of this inherent power of the Western court systems. It doesn't exist in any kind of statute. There's nothing written down that really talks about contempt being authorized by, say, the Constitution or authorized by the the legislature. It's just accepted.
Like a relic power.
Yeah, it's just accepted as what a man in a robe can get away with. So, and there's of course criminal contempt. There's direct criminal contempt. There's indirect criminal contempt. I think there's civil contempt as well. I don't know a whole lot about civil contempt. I don't know if civil contempt can be punished with jail, but I suspect it can. If it's ordered by a judge and you violate it, they take that pretty serious.
Well, and I will say in some cases, and I don't know if this is a point that David was trying to make, but usually federal, anything federal sounds bad, because just the way things are. But in some cases where the local courts are, deep in the pockets of whatever local boss hog who's running the town.
Yep.
Federal court does seem like a decent, slightly less biased alternative. Like I remember what was it back before he took the plea deal, Chris Cantwell, he was worried about being tried. He wanted his trial to be outside of Charlottesville because it was too
corrupt.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just for corruption. I mean, versus the corruption is one thing,
and I
but
think
also
they did not give him that when he motioned for that change of venue. They did not give it to him.
That's why that's why I believe he took the deal.
That's one of the reasons. Yeah, he figured he was going to get a raw deal, so he went ahead and took the less raw deal.
I would be curious to see how it would have played out in federal court, though.
It sure would be interesting if we could play two different versions of reality and actually compare, what would happen. Unfortunately, we don't get that ability. Now, we will get to make the decision as to whether or not predictions come true, because you can't compare two different versions of reality, but when somebody sits here today and says X is going to occur, and then further says that X is going to occur within Y amount of time, well, then you can just wait until that time frame goes by and see whether that prediction was correct, according to a story over at Grabian News, Grabian.com. Ocasio Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, said the world's going to end in 12 years unless the government takes action. Said this on Monday at a Martin Luther King forum in New York City. Here's an excerpt from her interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Quote, and I think I don't know what she sounds like, and I think the part of it that is generational is that millennials and people, because millennials aren't people, in Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. Your biggest issue is how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay for what? Pay for what? What is she talking about? Do you have any idea?
No. I'm still stuck. She's talking about climate change. If the government taking care of climate change in 12 years, I want to know what the government is going to do about Nibiru.
What the heck is that?
Nibiru?
Isn't that like a moon or something like that? A secret planet? What was the Nibiru?
I just hear it. It's coming. I keep hearing it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, isn't it going to destroy the Earth's orbit or something? What's the fear with this thing? You're laughing. You must know what the claims are.
Well,
I want you to tell me.
I was listening to GCN the other day.
Hold on. I want you. Hold on. We'll find out about this because I know I've heard about this nonsense claptrap on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust,
dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it.
And the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dynavite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dynavite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free and bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
It's Vincent.
Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is giving away a book that covers the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. Things that can save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event at freeescapebook.com. It's the Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. It's free for a limited time at freeescapebook.com. These 37 items don't come from some internet list. Instead, they come from Jason's experience as a CIA officer where he had escape bags. In his free book, he also gives advice on what are the best guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters to have in an economic collapse or grid-down event. You can get your copy at freeescapebook.com. That's freeescapebook.com. As we continue here, we were talking about this Ocasio Cortez making a prediction that basically the world's going to end in 12 years. She says, this is an actual quote, "The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change." And there's more to her quote. We'll share that. But then, for whatever reason, you brought up this Nibiru thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, inside joking aside, Nibiru is like, it's been predicted for, I think, decades maybe, right? And it's to get people to, in this case, in my belief in Nibiru, it's like some rogue planet's going to crash into the Earth, and it's to get people, some people like being scared, right? It's like why people like watching scary movies. And so in some cases, and some people like listening to fear porn like Alex Jones.
It makes life more interesting for
exactly
them, right?
And I think this is and that's why I make the comparison to Nibiru, because what was it? I haven't seen an Inconvenient Truth in a while, but like from what I've understood, because usually when Al Gore speaks, it goes through one ear and out the other, but this guy said like by now we'd be all underwater, and he's making all these apocalyptic predictions, saying, within
buy my book.
Exactly. Watch my movie. Watch the sequel. Do this while he's flying around in a private jet. And so I think this is exactly what Ocasio-Cortez is doing. She's trying to, or maybe she's not even trying. Maybe
she's trying to gin up fear, for sure.
The way she sounded it, and maybe, obviously when you when you transcribe what someone says, they have the ums and like, so it makes someone sound naturally stupid. So I'd want to listen to how she said it actually. But if she's not trying to make fear porn, it's just pretty stupid, right? At least Alex Jones, when he makes fear porn, he's vague about it, so you can't call him out. He doesn't give actual concrete dates.
Part of it that is generational is
you
that
actually do get how she
millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change, and your biggest issue is
Yay! Let's address climate change. Now, what does that actually mean?
Carbon taxes.
And how is that going to address anything?
Well, you see, if people have to pay more money to put gas in their cars and pay more money for cars, they're not going to buy cars or gas anymore.
Yeah, but they still got to get where they're going to go.
Well, we don't think that far ahead. Let's not worry about that. Let's just get... it's like what Nancy Pelosi said. We got to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
I'm kind of having fun reading her actual statement. Do you want to actually just listen to it, or should I continue?
No, Ian, you could continue. You did a pretty spot on.
Your biggest issue is how are you going to pay for it? And what is it again? What is it?
Of these pronouns. She's going to mind her pronouns.
The government. Look, the marketplace. If people want green, the marketplace is providing that. The marketplace is showing people green, right? Here's some cars you can buy that don't even have gasoline. Here's some cars that are the hybrids, where they're kind of half gas, they're half, battery powered.
Well, either way, no, the battery, where does the battery power come from? They plug it into an outlet that goes back to a coal or gas power plant. Not a coal mine, a power plant.
Sure.
And yeah, so it's just a waste of electricity. You might as well just stick the gas straight into the car.
She says, and like it's the war. Or excuse me, like this is the war. This is our World War II. And I think for younger people looking at this are more like, how are we saying let's take it easy when 3,000 Americans died last year? From what?
I'm sure a lot more than 3,000 Americans died.
From what? How are we saying let's take it easy when the end person died from our cruel and unjust criminal justice system? Now, she's right about that, because I think we looked at that last week, right?
Clock.
Yeah. So we looked at her position on criminal justice last week, and she's pretty good on that issue, but she's not well informed. How are we saying take it easy? The American where we're living today is dystopian, with people sleeping in their cars so they can work a second job without health care, and we're told to settle down. When she says you're told to settle down, does that mean stop complaining or settle down with a family? It's a fundamental separation between that fierce urgency of now, then why can't we wait that King spoke of? Oh, Martin Luther King, right, because it was Martin Luther King Day that she was speaking on. That at some point this chronic reality to reach a breaking point, and I think for our generation it reached that. I wish I didn't have to be doing every post, but sometimes I just feel like people aren't being held accountable. So that's why I'm posting on Twitter. Okay, I added that last line, but that's what she's talking about, right? When she talks about doing every post. I mean, again, she's not crystal clear with what she's saying. She's just rambling. So that's what she means, right? Posting on social media. Like, so this is how she's holding people accountable.
Well, Ian, that's her activism, right? Posting online is activism.
She says, until we start pitching in and holding people accountable, I'm just going to let them have it.
Let them tweet.
Update. Ocasio-Cortez responded to Grabian's post. She writes, quote, "For some reason the GOP seems to think this is a gaffe, but it's actually a generational difference. Young people understand that climate change is an existential threat. 3,000 Americans died in Hurricane Maria." What? Is that true?
Well, I mean, people are going to die. Hurricanes have been happening even before we had Hummers and SUVs, lady. I mean, people die all the time. I mean, it's like, when they talk about, I'd say what killed more Americans than the hurricane was the government's incompetency in dealing with it, right? Like, there's some townships or counties in Texas refuse to give aid to certain towns or certain people if they didn't sign a contract saying that they would not boycott the state of Israel. So the government, I mean, like, if there was no government, I'm sure just as many, if not fewer, people would die from these hurricanes than they already do, right? And we're not even beginning to talk about the disaster that was Katrina. So, she's trying to blame Mother Nature on these, or she's trying to blame climate change for all these deaths. Look a little bit closer to home there, AOC.
Yeah, I did just look this up, by the way, Vincent. According to Wikipedia on Hurricane Maria, the death toll in Puerto Rico was initially reported as just 64, but revised after several studies estimated between 1,400 and 5,740 deaths were attributable to the storm. The official estimate of 2,975, so close to 3,000, as she said, based on a study commissioned by the governor of Puerto Rico. Well, that's honest, right? It's a government study.
The more bodies, the more
the more funding.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. So that's a huge discrepancy to go from 64 dead to 3,000 people dead. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can bring up anything that you want. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. Also, there's our Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They're open and available to you. Jump on into one of those. We'll put you on the air with us. You can talk about anything you want here on Free Talk Live. I guess that's it from Ocasio-Cortez. But we got more on the way, and you can bring up what you want.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
At WolfHillAmmo.com, we love shotguns. We offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market, including our defensive combo packs for home and retreat. Our less lethal combo is good for animal control, the four-legged kind and two-legged, when lethal force is necessary. Reach for our Stop 'em, Drop 'em, or our home defense combos. These 5-round packs include different heavy hitters to